Good afternoon, class. At last, we have completed 2 units, and we are going to start the third unit, which is regarding the markets, market structures, theories of firms, and pricing policies. Okay. In that first part, we will be learning theories. Sorry, in the first part, we will be learning the markets, right? So first, you should know what is a market. So I'm giving the opportunity to unmute yourself and you can speak if you want to answer anything, right? Okay. Okay. What do you think? What is a market? What you will be generally thinking regarding a market? Generally, here two types of concepts occur, right? One is generally the place where we exchange the money with the goods. If you are a customer, if you are a seller, you will be exchanging your goods with money. Okay, the customer will be giving you the money and you will be exchanging your goods with him. Okay, that is just like a place, right? Not only that, when we talk regarding some of the goods, we used to say that this good is not going to have the market. This good is not going to have the market, or this good is going to have the market. That means, in the sense, it will. We are saying that that good will be having some profit if it is going. But what we want to say is, market is nothing but if I say that this good is going to have market, means that means we can sell this good in the market. Okay, it can gain the market, right? So generally we used to speak like this, right? And we used to say that we went to market and came like this, right? What is that? Just it's a place where we used to exchange our goods, right? So first, we will see we will see the learning objectives of this. And these markets are exist from the older days onwards. From the previous older days onwards, these type of markets exist. There, everyone is to bring the goods what they have prepared, and they will exchange the goods one with the other. Right? That is called as barter system, right? Barter system. We studied this in the social studies, right? Barter system, which is the system followed before the invention of money. Before the invention of money, we used to follow this barter system where we used to exchange the one good with the another good. Okay, everyone will be bringing their good to one place on the day. They used to keep all the goods what they have designed or they have manufactured. They will keep at one place, and everyone will be coming to that place and they will be buying that, or they will be exchanging their goods and going. That is in the time of barter system. Now also we are exchanging with the help of money. Okay, now we are helping exchanging with the help of money only. Now, if you see the markets, so coming to the learning objectives of this, after completion of this chapter markets, you should be able to understand what are the different types of markets and their competitive situations, features of perfect market, monopoly, monopolistic competition, and price output determination in case of perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition, oligopoly. And that means these are the different types of structures of a market, right? And concepts and features of the oligopoly, causes of oligopoly, demand curve model of oligopoly, right? That means these are the learning objectives in the mark. By the end of the chapter, we'll be knowing all these concepts. Okay. So first, let us see the introduction to these markets. See what is this? As we have just discussed like this, right? Markets constitutes an important phase in the economic activity. Markets constitute an important phase in the economic activity. All the goods and services that are produced needs to be sold to the customer for a price. Okay. So what we want to say is markets constitutes an important phase in economic activity, right? Yes. So if the market is working properly only, we can exchange the goods. And so you see here, if you produce a product, if you produce a product and if you want to sell that particular product, we have to pay some amount of money to the government. That may be called as some goods tax or service tax. Okay. At present now it is goods and service tax, right? GST, right? So if more amount of activity, economic activity is going, if it goes on only, the government will be having some amount of money. Okay. So if you are producing some good and keeping aside, without selling it, you will not get any money, right? So all the goods and services that are produced needs to be sold to the consumer for some particular price, right? So these markets facilitate this process totally. Okay. And we cannot imagine a society without a market even for a while, right? So if you don't have a market, if you can't find food, if you don't find food, you can't survive, right? Food or water, even everything is being sold today, right? So if there is no marketplace for you without selling goods, if the market is not open, if they are not selling the goods, you can't get the food, right? Even in this pandemic situation also, from the starting onwards itself, all the necessary goods are being sold. Okay. Whichever say regarding the food, rice, wheat, everything, the already all available food items are being sold from the day one itself, right? Okay. So we can't imagine a society without markets even for a while, right? Okay. Markets primarily provide this position utility of the goods and services. So generally this seller will be selling the goods to the buyer and thus transfer the ownership of the goods, right? If I manufacture a particular good and if I am selling it to you, means I'm transferring my ownership to you, right? Okay. So here we deal with all these price output decisions. Okay. So we used to have market situations, right? A monopoly, monopolistic, duopoly, oligopoly. So these are the different types of market structures. We'll be learning those. Okay, and we used to know what is this perfect competition and imperfect competition, right? So market is defined here like this. Market is defined as a place or a point at which buyers and sellers negotiate their exchange of well-defined products or services. Okay, market is defined as a place or a point at which buyers and sellers negotiate in the sense, you may ask, if you are a buyer, you may ask the seller for some price, and the seller, if he likes to sell at a particular price, he will sell that. Okay, if not, he may say that he can't give that for that price, and he may decrease some amount. That is called just like a bargaining, your bargaining, right? So negotiating is like that only, right? The exchange of well defined products or services. Okay. So traditionally, markets were referred to as a public place in a village. So in the previous days, we have heard that, so we it's a place, right? Traditionally, markets was referred to as a public place in a village or a town where provisions and other objects were brought for sale. So we can observe that, right? In olden days, we used to call in our language Telugu, we used to call it as Santa, right? So Santa, Santa means that only, where they used to exchange all other days. Weekly once there will be this market, right? Weekly once there will be market, right? What they do is, all the 6 days they will be working, and on the seventh day they will be bringing to this place a market, that is a Santa, right? They will bringing to that, and they will be selling those goods. Okay, and the same person, if he wants, he can also take some goods from others on the same day only. Okay, so from the previous days on itself, we have this concept called as a market. But there will not, at those days we don't have this perfect shop-like structures. Okay, and now every day we have shops, right? Previously we don't have that concept. Everyone used to produce the goods, and on one day they used to sell some of the goods which are the durable ones, and some of the goods are non-durable ones which they have to sell immediately, right? Such as milk, or else these vegetables or fruits. Okay, some of the provisions like that. So there will be such type of shops also, but this will be the different concept, right? Okay, so traditionally, markets was referred to a public place in a village or town where provisions and other objects were bought for sale. Based on the location, markets are classified as rural, urban, national, or the world markets, right? So when we, in our terms, we used to say that market exists for this product, means a market is said to exist whenever there is a potential for trade, right? If we have the potential for trade of that particular product, we can say that that particular product is going to have the market, right? So as of now, as the technology is being increased, okay, with modern facilities, okay, we can also see actually this e-commerce sites now. We have seen e-commerce sites, such as Amazon, Flipkart, EasyBuy. Okay, some more also available. Okay, where for only for clothing itself we have ASIO, or else Mintra, and some more other types of sites are also available. Okay, that means the world has become very smaller, right? That means from from any point you can sell those goods to any other point, right? Okay, you are by seeing some particular product in some e-commerce site, you are ordering that particular product, and they will receive that order, and they will be sending that particular product to you through the post or the home delivery services, right? Some e-commerce delivery product services also. Okay, see, we have seen that definition of market has undergone a sea change, right? In the modern context, we can also refer it as a meeting point of buyer and seller, not necessarily a geographical one. So we can't. It is not necessary for us to go to that particular point and meet and exchange such some of the goods, right? Not all the goods. Okay. So it is also not necessary that the buyer has to meet the selling person also. Okay. So previously we used to have this value payable by post. Okay, value payable by post. This type of concept also considered, right? So do you know that in the meaning in the previous days, if a person has to send money from his place to the other person who is in the town, or who is in another village, previously a person has to go and give that particular that money, and he has to come back, right? So later, this postal person has introduced this concept called as money order. So they will be taking 5% of the money what he want to send. For every 100 rupees, they used to charge around 5 rupees, I think, for giving for transferring of money from one place to another place, right? Okay. So if it is a very long place, if I send a person, it will be more amount, right? So instead of that, this concept in the postal service, that money ordering is very much helpful in those days, right? Now we are using this online transferring of money, right? It's a very simple one. Within fraction of minutes, we can say we are able to transfer the money. Okay, I can't say fraction of seconds, right? But within no time, we are within less than 1 minute of time, we are transferring our money from us to the other person with the help of this UPI. Okay, this type of concepts, right? So even this concept called internet, okay. So this e-commerce through the internet has been the latest avenue offering to sell larger volumes of their products and services with online negotiations where necessary, right? Okay, you are able to know what this markets and what market how the market is being defined right now. And now we have to see the size of the market, right? So generally the size of the market will be depending upon the factors such as nature of the products, what type of product you are selling, right? And nature of their demand, tastes and preferences of the customers, their income level. Okay, when we used to talk that that particular product, we used to talk that this product is going to have a big market. Okay, what does the big in the sense here? That means it is going to have a good market or big market. That means that particular product can be bought by many number of consumers. Since the product may be good, since the cost may be less, we have different types of concepts, right? Not only that, the income level of the consumer or the customer is also very important when we think of a size of a market, right? So I can't sell some products which are expensive in the drought conditions, in the drought areas, right? They don't have proper food to eat. How can they buy costly some costly items such as very expensive cars or some or other type of goods, diamonds or gold, like that. For them, the primary good necessary is the drought situation is the food, right? Food and water for surveillance their life. Okay. So not only this size of the market is also depending upon the telecommunication and information technology and time factors in terms of short runs and long runs. Okay. So this is the not only this rapid technology has brought these sellers and these other buyers very much closer. But what happens is, so for example, if you take a particular product has manufactured in a factory, that particular factory will be giving to some main dealer. Main dealer will be coming to the factory and he will buying that particular product. So for example, if the product cost is 8 rupees, and as a factory owner you may be willing to take only 2 rupees as a profit from each product. That means you want to sell it only for 10 rupees. That is enough for you. Okay, now the main distributor, he will collect at the cost of 10 rupees from you, and he will be giving to the sub dealer for 12 rupees. Okay, he is gaining 2 rupees profit. Okay, gaining, we can't say 2 rupees profit is for him. We can say that he has uh, for transmitting the particular good from your factory to his location, or investing his money. By doing so, he is increase he is selling for to the sub dealer for rupees 12. After that, this sub dealer will be collecting the particular product at a cost of 12 rupees. Okay, and same, the particular product will be sold to the, okay, sub dealer, and also now the wholesale dealer will be there, right? This sometimes the sub dealer himself may be a wholesale seller. Okay, that means the product he will be bringing more amount of products and keeping it with him, and he will be selling to the retail merchants, right? Are you able to follow this, right? So this sub dealer may not be a wholesale trader. Okay, he will be giving the particular product for the wholesale dealer at a cost of, he bought it for 12 rupees, and now he is selling that good at a cost of 14 rupees to the wholesale dealer. And this wholesale dealer, he will be selling the product for 16 rupees to the retail merchant. Okay, to the retail merchant he is selling at a cost of 16 rupees. Now this retail merchant will be selling to the customer at a cost of, say, 17 rupees or 18 rupees. Even if you want a product for if you want a profit of 2 rupees, you will be selling for 18 rupees. See how it is. The cost itself is only 8 rupees. Okay, the factory owner is willing to sell it for 10 rupees by gaining 2 rupees profit. From him, a person, that's the main dealer, is adding his profit of 2 rupees, is adding of his profit 2 rupees and selling it to the sub dealer. And now the price of the product is, so factory has sold to the main dealer for a rupees of 10, by gaining 2 rupees profit. By gaining 2 rupees profit, the main dealer has sold that particular product to the sub dealer at a cost of 12 rupees, and the sub dealer will be selling it to the wholesale merchant for a cost of 14 rupees, and the wholesale dealer will be selling that particular product to the retail merchant at a cost of 16 rupees. Okay, and this retail merchant, he got it for 16 rupees. Now he want to sell that particular good for, if you want, he also want a profit of 2 rupees, means he will be selling it for 18 rupees. See, the cost has increased from 8 rupees to 18 rupees. From 8 rupees to 18 rupees. Meanwhile, it's around 10 rupees. There is increase in the amount by 10 rupees. Okay. Now, what is going on in the e-commerce sites right now? These e-commerce sites, they are eliminating all this process. They just they contact only the seller, or the seller himself will be registering to the e-commerce site, and he says that, okay, I want to sell this particular product at a cost of 10 rupees. Okay, so his profit, his manufacturing cost is 8 rupees, and he want 2 rupees of profit on each good. So he says that I'm willing to get 2 rupees profit on each product. So what he will be doing is, so he will be fixing the price at 10 rupees. But the e-commerce persons, what they do is, they will ask him, they will keep that particular price as 11 rupees, or for example. So there is only 1 rupee change profit, right? That to the e-commerce side there, and the customer who is buying retailly, if he is buying that product in retail, he has to pay around 18 rupees. But in the online side, he can find that one at 11 rupees, right? So customer is thinking that he is gaining more. Okay, what are the concept maybe? All the persons who are in between, they all are eliminated. So that is the reason why we are getting this some of the products in the e-commerce sites at low cost. I think you can understand easily, right? So they have eliminated all these in between concepts, and directly you are purchasing the particular product from the person, and you, they then generally the customer maybe paying the shipping charges for some of the goods, or for some of the products they can ship directly. How they are shipping freely? Why? Because they already included the cost, the shipping cost also in your product cost. Okay, and also they used to maintain this shipping, what you say, shipping, for shipping purpose, they have some other persons. They are just like delivery, like this. You can see on the backs, you can see this delivery boys, you can see there delivery, some, that is some service. And some of the products from Amazon, there will be some other delivery boys. They will be maintaining them. Okay, by maintaining, giving some minimum amount of salaries to them. Okay, so without any profit, they can't do free service for you, right? Okay, anyhow, a person who is buying a product in the e-commerce site, we can't say that every product which is in the e-commerce site is of less cost, right? Sometimes we may get bluffed off that particular persons, right? But that is our idea. We have to see that properly, right? So see this size of the market, how it became, right? Now we can also see the market structures. We have different types of market structures. So e-commerce concept, you can keep aside now you see just physically you can see here what how the market structure it will be. Okay, so market structures refers to the characteristics of markets and influences and behavior and performance of the firms that sell in that market, right? So you can see the structure of market, it is based on the following features, right? One is the degree of seller concentration. So when we talk of a market structure, we have to say the degree of seller concentration. How many number of persons are selling this type of product? You have to see, right? This refers to the number of sellers and their market share. This refers to the number of sellers and their market share for a given product or service in the market, right? So you have to see when you are introducing a particular product into the market. Okay, you have to see that is there available this type of product? How many of them are selling this type of product in the market, right? So you should have a proper idea of it, and you have to see number of sellers and how many of them, what is their share. Okay, for example, in a village, if there are only 50 families or 50 houses, 50 houses in the sense 50 families, and if there is one person selling the provisions of the total for the rest of the 49 families, okay, it's well and good. Okay, if 10 persons are selling the goods in that particular village, what happens? In a village, if we are having only 50 number of families, in that if one person is selling the goods to others, it's okay. That means the one person is selling to the 49 number of families. If suppose if 10 members are selling the goods in that village, what happens? So out of 50 you have to minus 10. So that means there are 40. That means that means 10 members are selling. There are only 10 40 families who are not selling the goods. So out of this 40, the each 10 persons, we have 10 persons who are selling the products, right? So there will be share for them. That means for say, so family 1, family 2, family 3, like that we have up to family 10. These first 10 families are selling the goods. If the first family, from the first family, if 20 members are buying the goods, do you get now? That is his share in the market, right? If that means family 1 who is selling the products, if he is selling the product, that means 20 number of families are buying the product from him. So rest how many are there? Only 20 more families are there. For 20 more families, nine number of nine nine families are selling the goods. Okay, there they, that means out of the 40, a single family, family 1, its share is around 50%, right? Okay, its share is around 50%. That is the market share, right? Okay, this refers to the number of sellers and their market share of a given product or service in the market, right? And the degree of buyer concentration. So we have seen the seller concentration. That means if there are more number of sellers, automatically there will be very less amount of buyers for them. Okay, to each of them. If there are only two members who are selling in that particular village, all the persons, the rest 48 families, either he has to buy from person A or person B. Okay, like that. So degree of buyer concentration is also very, very important here, right? The next, the degree of product differentiation. The degree of product differentiation. It is also playing a very, very important role in the market structure. Okay, what is this differentiation? If a particular product is made by a company, the same type of product is made by some other company also, we don't find any differentiation, right? So generally this type of concept you can see, that means distinguish one product from the other. So for example, now once again this company Samsung is having a good market in India now, right now in the present situation. So most of the Indians are not willing to buy these some Chinese companies products such as MI or any other company products, Vivo, Oppo, these type of products, they have lost the market right now due to the patriotism in India, on India. Some of them are not willing to buy. So at the same time now Samsung, which is not a Chinese company, and whose cost will be a little bit lesser when compared with the other company cell phones, right? iPhone or else some other uh, company products, right? So based on in the situation, so degree of product differentiation means, so one company will be producing one product and other company will be producing same, within the same cost range. It will be producing a little bit best camera, maybe best RAM speed, maybe best storage space, like this. This is just like a differentiation, product differentiation, right? So degree of differentiation, one product will be different from the other within the same amount or same range of money, right? And branding also will be very important there. Now, and also the conditions of entry into the market. So generally entering into the market also plays a very, very important role. So generally you can't sell your products as you like at every place, right? So you, if you go to some example, if you go to the right bazaar, so they are selling some products. Only some persons will be selling the product. But how they got that selling right? By paying some amount to the market. Okay, that marketplace is maintained by some persons. Okay, they are getting that eligibility by paying some amount to that market office, right? So the conditions to entry should be a little bit stiff, or else everyone will be coming and they will be selling their product. Everyone will be coming and selling their product as they like uh, at their own different types of places, right? If there is no proper control, or else if we don't have proper information, if that area persons or that the area, generally municipality will be having some information, right? Okay, what are the products are being sold, and such type of information also will be available there. So if not, more number of persons will be selling, and we can't have proper control on the market, right? So generally, what every person who is doing the business will not encourage the other person who is entering into the market. Why? Because if he comes into the market, the number of sellers will be more. Automatically, his share of profit will be reduced. So that is the reason why if you ask a person who is doing a hotel business, if you ask him that Sir, I am willing to keep in hotel business. How is the market? If you ask, he will say negatively only. Actually, it will be negative only. Why? Because the number of persons increased, the total share of individual person will be reduced, or if they due to the more competition, he has to reduce the prices, right? Okay. We have some conditions to enter into the market, right? So we have different competitive market situations. So competitive market situations we have, okay, perfect competition and imperfect competition. We have perfect competition and imperfect competition. So we have to see those features: perfect competition, perfect markets. We will see the competitive market situations in the next class.